You can't put a label on a person. That one is bad, that one is stupid, and that one is greedy. This one is cute, this one is serious, and this one is completely lost. Things can change. And for this, it will take someone a few days, and someone 20 years. Like Tanya, the dorm queen. My wife told me all sorts of stories about colleagues. Naturally, I remembered several names, but I couldn't match them with certain people. And I've seen the photos more than once, but I still realize that I don't know any of them. I won't say that I was very worried about it, but it would be much more interesting to understand who it was about. Vadik has a birthday, his wife said when she came home from work, and it's not a bad day, anniversary 40th. Giving him my congratulations. I didn't know this man, but I had heard a lot about him. You can pass it on yourself. We're having a picnic. On Saturday, we're all going to the forest. Who is everyone? Well, you me. Not enough. No, not a little. What does the anniversary have to do with it? Oh, how attentive. Vadik with his wife and children. Olka from accounting with her husband. Lyudka read with the whole brood. Taras himself. And Valera takes his wife and eldest son, a small one with chicken pox from his grandmother. This set of names didn't tell me much, but I realized that family gatherings were coming. Great. How much do we give? What to wear? Which way are we going? I was inspired, as if I knew in advance who I would unexpectedly meet there. Look how fast it is. Wait, there's still a week ahead. I have already given the money to Taras. He will buy something there from everyone for the car. Well, what Vadik wanted. Won't the weather hurt? No, they have an old house there at the very beginning of the village. There's a forest right behind it, so if anything, we'll hide. It's been noticed, I'm not planning anything for the weekend. On the appointed day, we got in the car and drove to the outskirts of the city. We met all the guests there. Vadik turned out to be not Vadik at all, but a mountain of muscles by Vadim Vitalievich. Such a big and stocky man did not fit the affectionate form of his name at all. In my opinion, Vadik is a boy of about 8 years old. Well, in extreme cases, a young man who, if necessary, hides from hooligans behind a lamppost. And note that the key is both the word pillar and the word hiding. We hastily introduced ourselves to each other, made the last purchases in a small supermarket, somehow put things in the already full trunk of the birthday boy, and the motley column went to their destination. On the way, the question of how I could contact Vadik's wife did not leave me. I didn't look too closely, but among a dozen new faces, one seemed familiar to me. But then I pushed this thought away from me, because on duty I communicate with dozens of strangers every day, which means I could see anyone from the company and even more than once. All the short way, my wife repeated to me the names of the picnic participants so that I would remember them and not embarrass myself. The house was in poor condition. No one had put their hand to repair for a long time, but it was quite strong. There are several fully furnished rooms inside. The age of the furniture was many times greater than ours, but we were able to place our things and change clothes. There's a great clearing nearby, Vadim began. Well, I can't call him Vadik. 10 or 12 minutes on foot, no way by car, the trees are growing thickly. And with the children all 2 hours. Red-haired Lyudka did not yet understand how to drag her twins to their destination. There is a lake there, tiny but clean. So we also take swimsuits, and even fishing rods, if we're lucky. We'll fry a fish in foil. So I feel there is enough food for 3 days, my wife said, and began to put everything necessary for the table in a bag. Salt, sauces, and other small things. So, you're carrying a barbecue, the birthday boy commanded. You take this bag, there's a pickled kebab in it, so don't turn it over. He handed out tasks to all the men, and we walked to the clearing, loaded like donkeys. Indeed, an incredible landscape opened up to our eyes. The very beginning of summer, the leaves are still fresh, and, if I may say so, juicy. Nature is pure, untouched by man. Apparently few people knew about such a place. The kids took their places on mattresses and hammocks. The men got firewood, the girls cut vegetables. I threw an armful of branches near the barbecue, and again buried my eyes in Vadim's wife. Naturally, I didn't remember her name, just like everyone else. But her eyes, her profile. Well, I've seen her somewhere. I sat down on a stump and looked at her. After preparing the table, she went to check if her children needed anything. A girl of about 7 years old was busy studying the beetles on the flower, looked carefully, and sometimes touched her finger. 2 boys, very similar to each other, have already managed to pick a bunch of weeds and smear their clothes in the grass. The mother did not scold them, but only handed them napkins to wipe their hands. Then she gently hugged everyone in turn, brought her daughter a bottle of water. I drove the bumblebee away from my sons. I was pleased to observe their interaction. Such love and respect reigned in this family. The idyll was not interrupted with the appearance of Vadim. He said something to his wife, and she started rummaging in her bag. She turned to me in profile, and suddenly it dawned on me. Yes, this is Tanyushka, a dorm girlfriend. Yes, this is Tanya from my dorm. Only the one who lived there understands what a hostel is. No stories of acquaintances or feature films can convey the atmosphere that prevails where sleepy and hungry young people can be found in large concentrations. In short, this is an old acquaintance of mine. But not just an acquaintance. This girl was once nicknamed the Queen of the Dorm. And it's not about contests or votes, it's just that she was never alone. Maybe she was afraid of loneliness, maybe she loved guys too much, but she constantly started a relationship with someone. And just a couple of days after the breakup, she was already snuggling up to another. One day, I became the object of cuddling. We even tried to date, but we went home for the summer holidays, and nothing happened. But it happened with many of my friends. I won't say that we offended or humiliated her, but there was no such respect either. She alone could go to a club with strange guys. She dressed very provocatively. Of those who are for any kippish. If there was a party planned, she knew even earlier than the organizers. A friend from my room repeatedly spent evenings with her. I remember wandering around in other people's rooms for several hours, until a neighbor would not allow me to return to my rightful possessions. Of course, it has changed in almost 20 years. She became self-confident, an adult woman, a wife, and a mother with many children. No, she didn't lose her beauty, she just began to look completely different. I remembered the old days, how the dorm queen turned guys' heads. And we always had 4 questions about this girl. Why would she study if she is unlikely to work by profession? Won't she get married on the fly? Will she become a night fairy? Or will she spend her whole life sorting out men? Judging by what I saw, there was nothing left of the dorm queen. She has changed a lot both externally and internally. What an incredible rebirth. Towards evening, we were caught in the rain. The birthday boy ordered not to take anything, but to save themselves in the house. We rushed to run through the forest, no matter how hard we tried, but still got wet. The house was nice and cozy. I watched as Tanya wiped the kids' hair, gently stroked their cheeks, adjusted the bedspread on the sofa so that they would not be pressed, then began to court her husband. He brings a dry t-shirt, helps to take off the wet one, smooths his hair, gives a towel to wipe his face, brings a cup of hot tea. And all this with such a helpful look and love in his eyes. He thanks her, pinches her side lightly, and smiles. Such an idol. How could this Vadik see such a diamond under a miniskirt? Or had he changed her that much? After all, I was looking at an ideal relationship in an ideal family. The perfect wife and mother who cares about her loved ones. Tanya didn't recognize me for sure. I turned from a dreish into a well-fed man. I don't grow my hair anymore, and I look solid. So I decided not to say anything to her or anyone. Let our acquaintance begin with a clean slate, and from that day, After all, that weekend I met a decent woman. No matter what they say, but it seems that people are changing. Either they make such a decision themselves, or circumstances force them. Or, as in the case of Tanya, the right choice of a life partner